Day 13. This morning is another free day in the Intrepid itinerary. I have nowhere I have to be. No group, no guide, just me and Mérida. The air here in the morning is something else. Warm already, barely 8 o'clock. But there's this faint sweetness to it. Flowers from somewhere I can't see. And underneath that, the smell of corn and masa drifting out of a doorway. Someone nearby is already making breakfast. I've been looking forward to this city since before the trip even started. And now that I'm finally here, walking these narrow streets with the light cutting low between the buildings. And then, you round a corner and the Plaza Grande opens up in front of you. This is it, the heartbeat of Mérida. Huge laurel trees spread out over the whole square. This exact spot was once the center of Tahoe, an ancient Maya city. Before the Spanish arrived, before any of these buildings existed, people gathered here for reasons that mattered deeply to them. And then, Francisco de Montejo the Younger redesigned it as a Spanish parade ground. A deliberate act of replacement, of saying, this is ours now. Walking through so much of Latin America, that tension is everywhere. The old world underneath the new. You learn to look for it. Right on the south side of the plaza is the Casa de Montejo. Built in 1540, 500 years old and still standing. Look up at this facade. Conquistadors carved in stone, standing triumphantly over the conquered. It's not subtle. It was never meant to be subtle. This building was designed to send a message. It's uncomfortable to look at, and I think it should be. Understanding where you are means understanding what happened here without softening it. Inside, there's now a museum and a bank, which feels like its own historical joke. Across the plaza is the Palacio de Gobierno, built in 1892. But what brings people in is what's on the walls inside. These murals were painted by local artist Fernando Castro Pacheco. Floor to ceiling, room after room, they tell the story of the Maya and the Spanish. Not as a triumphant story, but as something more honest than that, more painful. If you've seen Seguiro's murals in Mexico City, you'll feel a similar energy here. That same insistence that the people who built this land and suffered on it should be seen. What moved me most were the captions. Every mural is labeled in Spanish, English, and Yucatec Maya, a language still spoken by around 800,000 people across this peninsula. Seeing it printed equally on a government wall felt significant. I stood in here longer than I expected to. The cathedral faces the east side of the plaza, and it's one of the oldest in the Americas, built in the 16th century, on top of a former Maya temple, using stones from that same temple. This keeps happening in Mexico. The sacred places of one people becoming the sacred places of another. I don't know whether to call it desecration or continuity. Maybe it's both. The interior is austere. A lot of the decoration was stripped away during the Mexican Revolution. What's left is almost stark. But behind the altar, a massive crucifix called Cristo de la Unidad, Christ of Unity. a symbol of reconciliation between Spanish and the Maya heritage. Coming out of the cathedral, there's this long covered atrium beside it, the Paseo de la Revolución. It's meant to be a gallery space, rotating artwork, changing exhibitions. Except today, the walls are completely bare. There's something strangely affecting about that. An empty gallery has its own kind of silence, like a hell breath. You start imagining what should be here. This former archbishop's palace used to house Mackay, a museum dedicated to Yucatan's most celebrated painters. The art is gone now, but the bones of the place, these thick walls, this long quiet tunnel, still carry the feeling that something important happened here. Three blocks southeast of the plaza, and you find the Museo de la Ciudad, the city museum, tucked inside what used to be the old post office. I love when cities do this. Take a building already woven into daily life, somewhere people came and went, sent letters, waited in line, and fill it with the story of the place itself. And then, the market, Mercado Municipal Lucas de Gálvez. And I'll just say it, markets are where a city is truly alive. Sunlight filters through the roof of the market, illuminating cookware stalls and colorful banners. Locals weave through the narrow aisles, the vibrant pulse of daily Yucatecan life. Piles of fresh green avocados for just 20 pesos. Various sizes of prensas para tortillas, tools built to last generations. Bright yellow handwritten tags label items like lemongrass, chocolate casero, and various dried chilies. It's artisanal Mérida with its vibrant embroidered shoes, woven baskets, and rustic dried gourds. The food hall. The smell hits you before the sight does. I buy some salbutes, fried corn masa dough, topped with shredded turkey, cochinita pibil, pork chook, and pickled red onion. Then I spotted some Yucatecan empanadas, a blistered corn masa crust, crispy outside, but still slightly chewy within. On top, raw cabbage cut through the richness with a cool, fresh crunch. Inside, molten cheese and earthy mushrooms. The streets around the market are chaos. Textiles, ceramics, shoes, hats. I walk north along Calle 60. And if you only walk one street in Mérida, make it this one. Stunning colonial architecture. This is the cultural backbone of the historic center. Parque Hidalgo, almond trees everywhere, casting real, generous shade. There's an Iglesia de Jesús across the way, 17th century. The first Jesuit church in the Yucatán, built using stones taken from a destroyed Maya temple, again with the stones. It was closed when I was there. Maybe the universe was telling me to stay on this bench a little longer, so I did. A few blocks further north and the city gets quieter. Parque Santa Lucía, smaller than Plaza Grande. Arcades on two sides. Restaurant tables spilling out underneath them. I sit here for a while. There's nothing happening. And that feels like the point. Mérida rewards slowing down. The history here isn't locked behind fences or trapped on plaques you read and walk away from. It's in the stones under your feet. In the murals you can walk into and stand before. in the way people label things in 3 languages because all 3 belong here. It's barely noon and I feel like I've lived a full day. That's what good cities do to you. The ones with real texture, not the kind curated for tourists, but the kind built slowly over centuries of ordinary lives. They compress time somehow. You come out the other side feeling fuller. 13 days into this trip, and I've started to understand why people come to this part of the world. Mérida, I get it now. I really do.